Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramanan and these are the top headlines from the startup space. BlackRock, a minority investor in Byju's, has yet again cut the valuation of its holding in the Bengaluru-based startup, this time to about $8.4 billion. BlackRock cut the value of Byju's share by 62% in the quarter ending March this year. From a year ago, it disclosed in a filing as per multiple reports. BlackRock owns less than 1% equity in the company. Fidelity Investment marks down the fair value of social commerce unicorn Meesho by 10%. This effectively pegs the valuation of the company at $4.4 billion from $4.9 billion previously, as per reports. Big Basket co-founders Laundry Maid raises $6.25 million in pre-Series A round from Bloom Founders Fund and others. The online laundry service startup aims to increase presence in Bengaluru and slowly expand to Gurugram next year. Airavati Ventures, an early-stage venture capital firm, announces the first close of its maiden 100 crore rupee fund. The fund will focus on sectors such as deep tech, deep sciences, biosciences, agri-tech, climate and enterprise tech, primarily at the pre-seed to pre-Series A stages. Fintech major Razorpay launches Turbo UPI in partnership with Axis Bank and NPCI to allow customers of online merchants to make UPI payments directly without getting redirected to a third-party app during checkout. The move comes after Paytm last week launched a similar product called UPI SDK. NVIDIA is building Israel's most powerful AI supercomputer to meet soaring customer demand for AI applications. CEO Jensen Huang says everyone can be a programmer as generative AI will understand multiple forms of input, including speech. BHP Group teams up with Microsoft to improve copper recovery from its Escondida mine in Chile, the world's biggest copper mine, by using Azure's machine learning and artificial intelligence. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. But on what's brewing today, Paisabazaar has reached an annualized loan disbursal rate of over 15,000 crore rupees in 15,000 crore in March this year. The startup, which is part of the PB Fintech Group, has registered a 76% yearly growth in loan disbursals in FY23. And that's not all. Paisabazaar's credit card business has grown over 180% on an annualized basis in the same month. I'm now joined by the co-founder and CEO Naveen Kukreja. Naveen, thank you so much for joining us on Startup Street today. Like I said, you've crossed an annual disbursal rate of 15,000 crore rupees, an increase of 76% versus the previous year. So talk to us about what led to this and tell us about which were the products that were most in demand. How do you plan to keep this momentum going from now on?
Thank you, CNBC and Arundhati, for having me. Like you said, that we've had a good growth in this year. But if you see the context of the industry, the lending industry has what we call as severe underpenetration even now. If you look at the number of credit card holders in the country, there are only about 7 crore or so unique credit card holders. So that's about 5% of the population. You look at the number of people who've access to organized lending, that'll be a similarly low percentage. So over the last few years, it's always been growing very rapidly, except for the shock year that we had in COVID, where everything went down. Post-COVID, one of the good things that's happened in industry, and that's helping us as a digital-first company, is the pace of digitization in the industry, where pre-COVID, everything was primarily offline. Now things are moving more and more digital, especially after the consumer applies for a loan or a card. So in that environment, both of underpenetration of the industry, where the industry grows at, let's say, has been growing at about 16-17% annually, a digital platform like us aims to and manage to grow at about 4x of industry growth. For us, that growth was very secular in the sense that it came from both personal loan and credit cards, which are our key products. And within that, we have various segmentations. So whether it's a super prime customers who have very good credit score, to near prime who are there but not yet fully there from a credit score perspective and income perspective, to small ticket personal loans, which is primarily offered to either new to credit people or people who have not adequate income to take a large ticket loan. So we saw growth across all segments,
Right.
across both personal loans and credit cards. I anticipate that given where the industry is and given the digitization efforts we've seen and we're seeing across all the 65 plus partners that we have, we should aim to continue to grow at about 3 to 4x of the industry.
Right. So you will continue to grow at 3 to 4x of the industry. Now, with a revenue of 120 crores in the fourth quarter, and the business has been EBITDA profitable since December last year, how have you focused on improving margins? Do take us through some of your growth targets going forward.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Arundhati. So what happened was that in COVID, just to set the context, as a lending platform and a lending distribution platform, we saw as high as 90% drop in our revenue in a single month from March 2020 to April 2020. And that's when we realized that the industry was just not digital ready. And of course, the environment was tough, the country was locked down, etc. So the lending completely stopped in the country, the new lending, and all of our revenue was linked to new lending. What we did was 2-3 things. Of course, the country recovered because, like I talked about, the underpenetration, etc. So by end of 2020, the industry was recovering very, very nicely. Thankfully, the losses didn't pan out as the industry had initially feared, and the job losses, etc., were all very much in control. The macro parameters for the country were in comfortable zone. So that was one trigger. The second was that digitization, as it started for somebody like us, which is a digital first platform, as there is more digitization, the reason for consumers to go back. So the consumers come to us for comparing, looking at the best options. But if the process becomes offline after that, consumers were moving away. And when consumers move out of a platform and go to offline channel, then there are leakages, attribution issues along with the lending partners.
Right.
But as more and more consumers are able to stay digital now because of the end-to-end digitization of journey, we don't have leakage problems. So our conversions are better, and it's a win-win for both all the three parties: consumer, us, and the lending partner. So that's one reason that's caused our margins to improve, where we moved from close to 0% margins during or pre-COVID to now about 40% margin. The third thing that we're doing, which is very strategic to us, is that we are building the co-created products, where we go deeper with a lending partner to either expand the market or innovate on the product and process.
In fact,
and when we do a co-created product, we actually take lesser revenue upfront and link revenue to consumer performance. It aligns our interest even more with the lending partner. But what it also does from a margin perspective is that from a future perspective, the trail revenue or renewal revenue comes at very, very high margin. So as that ratio keeps improving, I expect that our margins to be very stable at 40% now, and hopefully inch upwards as we go into the next year and post forward that.
All right. Naveen, if you could quickly tell us now, you claim that close to 9% of India's credit inquiries take place on Paisabazaar, and you've issued over 4.6 lakh credit cards. Talk to us about your products and the penetration that you've seen.
Sure. So we issued 4.6 lakh credit cards in the year, but our run rate is about 5.3, 5.4 lakh cards. On the inquiries bit, like you said, we get about 20 lakh consumers coming and looking for a particular credit product, whether it's a personal loan, a credit card, home loan, loan against property, and some kind of credit product. And because of our credit score product and the penetration we have there, we're able to estimate on what does that comprise of and how many people get the loan. So that's about, like you said, 9% of the country's unsecured credit inquiries are coming, which is a good thing for us as a platform whose first aim is to make sure that people are able to see all options in a very transparent fashion. And then we help them choose the right option, because remember, in credit, it's not necessary that the cheapest product is the right product for you, because you may not be eligible for that. It's a credit product at the end of the day. The lender needs to decide whether to give that to you or not. So the second important task for us as a marketplace is that we guide the customer on what's the right product. As long as we continue to invest in a brand and continue to increase this 9% to hopefully 15% and 20% over a medium to long term. And like I said, the macro part of the industry growing at about 15-18%, and more players digitizing on our platform, we see that our market share should continue to inch upwards as we grow faster than the industry.
All right, so you expect your market share to only increase upwards. All right, Naveen, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, but we're completely out of time and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Moving on, cross-border payment solutions platform XFlow has backed $10.2 million as part of its pre-Series A funding round. Now, the round was led by Australian venture capital firm SquarePeg. The round also saw participation from Lightspeed, General Catalyst, and more strategic ventures. The startup will use the funding to fuel growth, strengthen its tech stack, and expand its product offerings. And joining us now to discuss the fund allocation plan and the growth story is Anand Balaji, the co-founder and CEO of XFlow. Anand, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Now, you're a financial services and infra firm that simplifies the cross-border payments experience for businesses. So talk to us about the various products you have on offer, the pain points that you're essentially trying to solve.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me. Really quickly, what we want to solve for businesses is to make cross-border payments essentially painless. That's really what we are trying to do. So we want to make it fast, simple, reliable, and cost-effective. The pain points that typically, if you talk to folks, like if you talk to an exporter, especially on the small and medium-sized exporters, the pain points they have are around the lack of visibility into where funds are, the lack of transparency on the pricing side, and the sort of the long time delays it take to get their money in their bank account. And we are helping these merchants on all of these parameters. If you go to the other end of the spectrum, really, like there are platforms that serve hundreds of thousands of users who provide different kinds of financial services to all kinds of companies, from sole entrepreneurs to really large corporates. They are unable to offer cross-border payments as an offering today in their stack. And so XFlow essentially has built a simple set of APIs and developer tools that today those platforms can sort of take in and integrate cross-border payments into their offering for all their customers.
Okay, give us a sense of the kind of clients that you're currently catering to. Where are you seeing the most demand and how do you plan to grow your client base further? Can you give us some use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are seeing clients all the way from sole entrepreneurs to small, medium-sized enterprises to large platforms. So some examples of use cases would be, one of our clients is, people might be familiar with WeWork. They use XFlow to accept payments from customers abroad who've got office space in India. Another example of a platform is this company called Inkle that essentially provides legal and CPA services to companies. And Inkle is able to now not just offer those kind of services, but integrate payments into that whole landscape. So imagine you get advice on how to structure your company, and then you also have a simple way to move funds from your headquarters to wherever you want to move it. So these are the kinds of examples and use cases we are seeing. As we sort of talk to more and more customers, we are quite excited actually by the kinds of use cases that are emerging, because some of these are things that we didn't imagine as we were building. But now that we have the API and the infrastructure available, we are seeing more and more very unique businesses come in, people providing cash management services to really small companies, people providing neo-banking services to sort of small, medium enterprises. So they're all hungry for being able to integrate cross-border payments into that in a simple and cost-effective way.
Right. Let's talk about the fundraise then. You raised about $10 million, a little over $10 million in your pre-Series A round, and you want to use these funds to expand your product capabilities and support more currencies and local payment methods. So talk to us about these new products in the pipeline and the new currencies you're looking to support. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in terms of when you talk to our customers always want as many currencies as we can support as possible. So we've started with a small set, but our intent is to expand it to at least 30 more different currencies that they can accept payments from across the world. We also want to help people accept payments from their customers in their local payment methods. So it's a very classic payments requirement where if I'm sending you an invoice and you're in the US, you want to pay using local bank transfers there. And so we will sort of expand the bouquet of payment methods we have across different countries where we can help our customers accept payments from. Those are the two key product investments we're making to sort of make life simpler for our customers.
All right. And what about revenues? What are you currently clocking? Where do you hope to end this year? And what's profitability looking like? How do you plan to grow these revenues as well?
Great question. So we are still pretty young in our journey. So we're not really like focused on the large numbers, but enough to say that we are now servicing dozens of customers. We've already processed millions of dollars of transactions since we launched our first product in November in 2022. We are hoping to sort of keep investing in growing the market in India in the near term and sort of make sure that we actually help more and more Indian businesses use XFlow in the near term, and in the medium to long run also expand internationally. So we definitely expect to grow our revenue 3x year over year for the next 3 years.
All right, so grow 3x year over year. But like you pointed out, you're also looking in the medium to long term to move into other international markets as well. So what are the countries you're looking at? And what about regulatory compliances when you move to newer geographies?
Great question. And that's actually one of the pain points that our customers have. And that's the reason why we want to build that infrastructure where we take away and abstract away some of those pain points. So we are evaluating a bunch of different geographies where we can actually add value to customers. And surprisingly, we are finding most geographies where we even thought cross-border payments is not such a painful experience is actually pretty painful. So we will evaluate and launch our product in all markets that where we can go and add significant value. We are in the process of evaluating the regulatory landscape in each of those markets. Like you correctly identified, this is an incredibly important yet difficult piece that a lot of companies face. And if we can build that infrastructure, if you will, then it makes it very easy for companies to access payments in all these markets.
Absolutely. So regulatory compliance is being the biggest pain point for you over there. But Anand, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We're completely out of time and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you, Arundhati.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. What will you create? Whatever it is, run after it like we did. Run, don't walk. Remember, either you're running for food or you're running from being food. That's the word coming in from Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, during a commencement speech he gave to students of the National Taiwan University. Of the many things that Jensen Huang addressed, including how an AI revolution has begun, the company's resilience and future thinking have made it what it is today, in spite of the company reaching the brink of failure 3 times in as many decades.
What will you create? Whatever it is, run after it like we did. Run. Don't walk. Remember, either you're running for food or you are running from being food.
And the fast pace with which technology is evolving has seen the invention of many things. As Huang pointed out, in the last 40 years, he said, and I quote, "We created the PC, internet, mobile, and now an AI era." He emphasized on how the AI we see now will be revolutionized, reborn, and ready for new ideas.
We are at the beginning of a major technology era, like PC, internet, mobile, and cloud. But AI is far more fundamental because every computing layer has been reinvented. From how we write software to how it's processed, AI has reinvented computing from the ground up.
With the accelerated pace of AI development, the scope for AI to create new jobs will go up and bring forth jobs that never existed, such as prompt engineering, AI factory operations, and AI safety engineers. He said, and I quote, "Agile companies will take advantage of AI and boost their position. Companies less so will perish." Huang made a categorical assertion that while some worry about artificial intelligence taking away jobs, he said that it won't actually be AI, but someone who is an expert with AI, that's the person that may take away your job.
AI has opened immense opportunities. Agile companies will take advantage of AI and boost their position. Companies less so will perish. Just as every generation before you embraced technologies to succeed, every company and you must learn to take advantage of AI and do amazing things with an AI co-pilot by your side. While some worry that AI may take their jobs, someone who expert with AI will.
By almost touching $1 trillion, NVIDIA became the 7th company in the world to reach $1 trillion market value. The firm's stock also rallied over 25% last week, courtesy an optimistic financial earnings, which calls out high chip demand because of the AI boom. Now, the huge numbers are unparalleled, and only Apple and Amazon have managed to reach such a feat in the past. He ended his speech by saying, "Either way, run, and for your journey, take along some of my learnings, that you will have the humility to confront failure, admit a mistake, and ask for help." End of quote.
Either way, run. And for your journey, take along some of my learnings, that you will have the humility to confront failure, admit a mistake, and ask for help.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.